dish for time. It's funny, you know, you make a dish and you just get to know it, don't you? I used to make this every week for lockdown, lots of actually. I haven't made it for a while, but it is really good because it's just so straightforward. We've got you, I can see you there. I will just wait another minute. I'm going to just chop this quite small so it will cook up nice and quickly. But you know, you don't need to chop it this small. Bearing in mind that butter beans, let's just put that in there, the butter beans are quite big, so you might want the onion to hold its form against that. The onion for me generally determines how, well, the onion for me is determined by everything else. So, you know, a butter bean, that's garlic obviously, but if that's butter bean, you know, you might want it to be a little bit more sort of that size or half that size. Or petals, as you know, I use petals a lot because they're just a convenient way to get texture. What do I do? Texture in a dish. Completely gone off piece there. See if Wendy is, well, something might have happened her end, so I'll just continue. Right, so tonight this is on the lockdown menu. It was called Fragrant Butter Bean Curry, I think, something like that. I've used the old photo. I haven't taken a new photo. I probably won't actually, because I think it captures it quite well, the informality of it. But thank you again for coming. Let me just see if I've got, pretty sure Wendy's in this group now. She did, yes, she is. So she's 3 on like, yes, so she should be able to see that. So that's good. Let's just get back to Messenger. Right, okay, so so I've got some oil heated in this pan, and a couple of people recently have said, oh, you use quite a lot of oil. Now, of course, when I'm demonstrating, I might use a bit more than I would if I was on my own. That does need to be borne in mind. But generally, I do use quite a lot of oil. Somebody's just joined the course called Anne, and she's not here tonight, I don't believe. She's on Facebook, but she'll watch this back. And I do tend to use a little bit more when I'm demonstrating to just give me a little bit of leeway. You could probably cut what I say in half, but then by the time it's written up in a recipe, I have moderated it back. But yes, I do make quite a lot, use quite a lot of oil. Indeed, the restaurant trade does. So we want this oil to be nice and loose in the pan, and then we know it's warm. So we want to put a little bit more heat under that actually, and get that going. I've got, the studio is filled with the scent of this basmati rice that I've cooked up before starting. And the next ingredient going into this is garlic. So we're going to caramelise this onion. And as always, we put a little bit of salt onto onion as it's caramelising, because then it will not burn. And we've got this garlic here. So for this recipe, it's about a tablespoon or more of ginger. I like it quite gingery. 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. And with the ginger, you can choose how to prepare it. I don't generally peel ginger nowadays. I've always been a bit hit and miss with whether I can be bothered, but I'm not peeling it. You can grate it. You need a larger grater. I'm just going to chop this actually to demonstrate that. But garlic can just get grated in. And then the little bit left over can just become chopped into there as well. I wouldn't grate anything. I wouldn't grate garlic on one of those box graters, because I've got an OXO one that's actually properly sharp, and I just am always grating my fingers. So So I'm putting the garlic in there. If that oil was really, really hot, I would just wait until the onion has caramelised a little bit. You know, you just have to feel your way. But because there is a sort of a limit on the time as well, you know, I just need to get this stuff in. So these little bits of garlic can just get chopped down and put in. I should just say I have been sort of reminding myself recently that, you know, if you're chopping on a board, try not to use the edge of the knife to, you know, try and use the other edge, because then you're not blunting it. So you can, if you've got a box grater, you know, you would just be holding it and grating that in like this. You can, of course, well, that's gone in quite nicely, but I'm just going to chop in. You can, of course, peel with a spoon if you wanted to. That's a good way of peeling ginger. That smell is just so lovely, but I just don't really see the point anymore of that. So I'm just going to just chop him down. What else what do I need to say about this? So I'm doing it in quite slender pieces, and I decided to chop him and just demonstrate that, because it's really nice to get the fiery taste of the ginger into the meal, to be honest. So I'm just chopping him to julienne. Julienne. And then just turning those into a pile. I'm not getting too worried about the stuff on my knife at the moment. Taking these, so get some nice thin slices going. But I quite like ginger in this because it's got some spinach coming, it's got butter beans in, it's got a can of tomatoes, so I just quite like the texture. That's probably enough for demo purposes. Quite like the texture of the slightly larger pieces. But you know, you do what you want, really. I always kind of think, you know, it depends how much of a flavour you want and how much bite. But for anything that I've written down as a recipe, that is kind of there for a reason. Again, I was asked the question, you know, do you use specific ingredients for a reason? Well, yes, I do. Everything's generally there, unless I'm there on the video saying, oh, it doesn't matter, you could just sub it with, say, any old unsweetened soya milk. It generally does matter. There has been a bit of thought gone into it. So that's quite nice, or you can just grate it. Big grates, little grates, or you could just buy one of those big bags of ginger, and then you could put it in a Magimix or a blender and make a puree, and then freeze it in an ice cube tray, and then you've got it ready. You know, ideally, don't use those purees unless you must. You know, in the videos I do use them because I'm getting people going, but as you develop your cookery, try to move away from those sorts of things as a professional would, you know. So in goes. Have I done everything? Probably. Let's get all these away. So I bought a big bag of ginger and I'll throw it all through the Magimix tomorrow. So now, as I'm talking, I'm listening. That's, for me, the key skill of demonstrating. Can you talk and can you listen at the same time? And I think that's one of the key skills in cooking, is to hear. Because I can hear that's quite dry. That's okay. But I was just thinking, as I was just finishing that off, oh, okay, that's getting quite dry. That sounds quite dry. Is that burning? So it's useful skill. You know, this gas here, camping gas as it is, you know, I can't hear it, whereas my burner in the kitchen, I can hear that, and that's actually really useful. And I feel a little bit exposed in this situation. I'm going to have gas put in here, but it's a little bit more complicated than just getting a gas engineer to come in. So that's caramelizing down nicely, actually. Let's just show you that a little bit more over there, whether that's any better. So it's browning, it's caramelizing, and it smells a bit different. So now's the time. We could put a little bit of water in that. I just want to loosen that a bit. Just a touch. Whether you heard that, but that's just going to loosen that, and that will improve that. And particularly because I know now I'm going to put the spices in. And must remember to look at that camera when that, yes. So the spices, we've got cumin and coriander. Now the fragrance of this comes from the coriander, and coriander for me is probably not what I would want to be using at all if cumin, you know, his friend wasn't around, because I think coriander on its own is really quite a thin flavour, lovely, but quite thin, and needs his friend. That's why they're so often together. We've got a couple of teaspoons of each going in. You know, don't worry about kind of overdoing it. 2 teaspoons of each sounds like quite a lot, but it's fine. Can I get this out of here? So we've got about a teaspoon there, and we've got about a teaspoon there, so not get our knickers in too much of a twist about the exact amounts. So that's a teaspoon in there. And then we need a little bit of turmeric going in, like that, and a tiny bit of cayenne pepper. Let's just do a bit less than that. It's actually quite convenient using a knife. Yeah, so we want to activate the spices. Turmeric didn't really need to go in. It could have gone in at the end, as it generally is. But anything cumin and coriander, lots of different spices, need a bit of activation and a bit of help to get going. So again, I knew that was coming, so then the water went in to anticipate that. It's still, to me, sounding a little bit dry. Where's my water? It sounds a little bit dry. So this is about, I think, being able to cook when you can just sense that something isn't quite right. You look at it, that bit, the pan actually, this bit, is a little drier for some reason. And it's just knowing when to coax this, because if you get this bit wrong, it's all going to be a bit wrong, if I may be so bold as to say. If this isn't caramelised and activated, then everything I'm going to do next won't be as good. And then by the time you put your chopped tomatoes in, you've got what might be called I'm just going to say a pub curry or a pub chili. And, you know, people say to me, oh, you know, I love your food. Well, you know, this is when my food is becoming my food, and when your food will become your food, because it's got some care at the right moment, and this is the right moment. So I'm just sort of filling the gap a little bit, because I know that needs to go a little bit more caramelised. I need to see that go a little bit darker. We're going to put some sugar in. Let's just see, we've got those in, and we're going to deglaze with some lime juice. Fresh would be great, but we're all right with that. So I just need to let that cook a little bit, but not on a higher heat, because that will just dry it out and it could burn it, and that's not what you want at all. But that's coming on, and I find the difficulty of that is you look down and you think, yeah, I need a bit more brown, and then you come back to it and you think, well, I think it's gone a bit more brown, and before you know it, it's kind of, has it actually gone more brown? You know, it's just that thing. But that has changed colour. That is changing colour from when we first started, and it's not only because of the turmeric. And what you don't know is what I can smell, which is that's smelling right now. The caramelisation has happened with the key ingredients, the Holy Trinity, I believe I used to say, with the ginger, the garlic and the onion. So that's really nice. And then the spices are coming through. So I'm going to deglaze it with about a tablespoon of lime. So we'll just stir him in, and we'll just let That's really nice smell as well now. That's lifting that considerably, and that's just going to let that liquid go off, as it were, steam off. And I'd always say to cook a bit cool, apart from when you're doing a stir fry, the opposite, go over hot. But for this, cook a bit cool, cook a bit steady, wait for things, look and learn, and relax a little bit with it really. So that's good. I'm going to put some sugar in. This is date sugar. I've needed about, it's not quite a tablespoon. But everything needs to balance. You know, we've got the citrus in, we've got some salt going in, we've got some sweetness coming in from the tomato. Date sugar is really nice. I really like it. Or you could use soft, dark brown sugar. So you can see that's changed colour. That's just caramelising now. And that will help his friend, the tomato, coming in. So let's just bring this in. Just go back. This is going to have spinach in it. Let me just see there's no question. This is going to have spinach in it, but this freezes so well. But obviously, don't put the spinach in before. You know, put the spinach in when you're serving it for service, as it were. Now, you could serve coriander or parsley. I've got both because I've got both on the go at the moment. So this is good, just waiting for that to go. That's gone, and I can hear that the temperature is nice and high. It's looking quite dry, and so I'm happy now to put the tomatoes in. And just spread them around the pan. So effectively you're spreading the cool around the hot pan. Put them there, ready. And this is best simmered for as long as you can, you know, do it really. I mean, if you were to do a whole load of this, well, if I was to do this 10 portions, well, I did, I just put it in the oven for a couple of hours on low, 100 or something, and then just bubble it away. You know, let's just push this heat through this a bit. It's very easy. I told you it was easy. So we're just going to prepare. I've got a bit of shallot left, but you could use spring onion. But you need a little bit. Let's just check let's just do a bit of coriander for the top. So as you know, I wouldn't get the stalks off. Coriander is one of these funny ones. You have to kind of keep it quite big, otherwise. I once made that mistake early doors, years ago now, chopping coriander so small it just went into this sort of sludge. Horrible. I think the trick to these herbs is to keep them dry. So we've got some coriander, and obviously I've got my stalks in there. This is coming up now. It's such a lovely dish, this. It's so simple. And I'm just protecting my spatula there from the heat, rather than putting it down. Just find that a bit easier. So we've got this herb now. Let's just think, we probably just need to just have a tiny bit of onion on the top. Oh, it smells so nice. It's bringing back memories. Lockdown 2020, early 2021. Brilliant. What should I do? I just need to just put a little bit on the top of this dish. So nice and fine. I love a shallot. Got a few left. I was just going to buy some spring onions, which I believe I've written in the recipe, but I thought, oh, I'll just use those shallots up actually. So those are all ready. Bit mixed up with the herbage, but I think you'll forgive me on that. So you can see this now. It's reducing. The liquid's coming out of it. I'm giving it a stir because I can see that that side isn't reducing as much as that side. That looks nice. Not much salt gone into this. Salt to taste. You'll need to add probably 1/4 teaspoon more. Why? Because we've got this going in and we've got this going in. We are going to use some lemon zest. So let's just wash this off. Do myself a favour actually, remember to buy another one of these. I lost the handle a long time ago, but I just quite like it without the handle because I can really hold them. So that's good. So that's a nice colour, nice texture. Yeah, definitely need to add some salt. It does say that on the recipe. Yeah. And let me just check I put everything in. Yeah, I have. Butter beans gone in. I said last week I'm not a big fan of Asda butter beans. I'm not really, but they're fine in this. Oh, I've had a bit of a butter beanie week though. I've sent some back to Asda. Well, I wasn't allowed to. I bought some Old India butter beans for some unknown reason. I don't know why, because it's not the normal brand. I just had a brain dump or something. Anyway, I soaked them for 24 hours. I boiled them. I forget simmering because you know you simmer them. Oh, it's like after a bit of simmering, nothing happening. So I turned them up to like I'm boiling them. They must have been on for 90 minutes. I started reading the comments on Amazon. People saying I can't get these to cook. Tasted absolutely horrible. Just like, so I've had a bit of a butter beanie week. They didn't roast either, and my deodorized coconut milk that oil it tasted of coconut as well. So it was all a bit of a disaster really. So yeah, buy Whole Foods online. That's all, or buy whatever that website is. That's the one. So organic butter beans are clearly the way. But these are Asda. These are all right, aren't they? This is a quick midweek meal really. So we're done. So now, as we know, spinach. A bit of a scratch there on my nose. As we know, spinach just goes down. 100 grams for 400 grams of tomatoes. Let's get him in there. Let's not get too worried. So let's just see. So what's this bag? I always do this by eye. Let's see. This bag will probably be about 300 grams. It's very clever. It doesn't really say. It is. It's 300 grams. I'm quite pleased for knowing that. It's a minor triumph. So yeah, just fold. If you have a lid, of course you could put it on. But look at that. I mean, look at that. I mean, that is the magic of being able to cook a meal, because that now you just think that looks lovely. This is wilting down. I've got my rice ready. I just put this basmati in with double the amount of liquid as I did, had as rice. Didn't weigh it or anything. As soon as it started bubbling, I just took it off the heat, sieved it, and let it just sort itself out really. So there you go. That is it. How simple is that? And that tastes absolutely amazing. So you could put more spinach in if you wanted. I'm going to have this for my tea, so let's add a bit more. I never get through these bags of spinach. But this would be a good one to do for friends. You've got your naan bread, you've got a dal, you've got this. You might have some sort of dry curry, that would be appropriate as well. Don't want everything wet, so maybe some charred aubergine with some sort of filling, or turan or something like that. But certainly 3 dishes if you're having people around for curry. Yep, done. So we'll just have a look at this. Out of captivity. It smells so nice in here now. Yum, yum, yum. Let's have a look. And that's the right camera for that. What a question. I always end up throwing away mouldy ginger. Yeah, that's right. Just if I may be so bold as to suggest, you just quit buying a small amount, buy a big amount, give yourself half an hour, just top and tail it, throw it in the Magimix, whatever you've got, and just get it sorted, Kerry. Just put it into ice cube trays or put it in a Tupperware, but just divide it up into tablespoons so you can just lift a tablespoon out. I've done that. I've over my lifetime, I've thrown so much stuff away, and then I've just hit on it by just, you know, when I had to cook for a living, just buy a lot more of it and just deal with it once, and then it's dealt with, you know. So nice amount of rice. That's all done. Got another couple of spoons. Have I got something more appropriate? I do. Oh, I wish you were here actually, because after these sessions I usually go through and eat, and I just think, oh, it'd be nice to have someone to share it with. So there we are, and then we just want to have, obviously, you know, we want to layer up a little bit of interest visually, and we want to dress it, but we don't want to just dump herbage on the top. We want to dress him around a little bit, and he's, you know, the herb's okay to sort of scatter on the plate as well. And then lemon zest, but you know, really it would be lime, and then you'd put a little, you top and tail, just so that, you know, we just remind ourselves, we top and tail a little wedge, and then we dress it on the outside, you know, not on the other side, because that's a nicer colour to see. So that's it, fragrant, and it's light, and it's a curry, and it's easy, and it's no fat in it really. It's got a little bit, but you can control that. It's not a big coconutty one, you know, so it's really healthy. It goes down a treat. It freezes, obviously, without the spinach in. Freezes, make ahead. You know, it's one for your repertoire really. I think you'll like it, Kerry. I do. That's it. I've done it. That's my tea. That's my tea. I'm really excited. Good. Okay, we've got me back on the right. So now, this sounds like it will smell and taste. It does. I'm on this camera now. It does. It does. I must eat 1 kilo of spinach a week. Do you? I don't. We'll do that with the ginger. Good one. Yeah. Preparing that is a good way, because actually in those bigger bags of ginger you get better pieces. They're really putting the worst bits in the small bags. I had a look at them this morning, or whenever it was in Asda. It's like these big pieces are the way. I think in Asda they've got that stuff that's already frozen, you know, in the freezer section for ginger, but I just like to do my own. Definite tea this week. Yeah, exactly. It's really easy. It's one of those ones that you just think, actually, I've got everything for that. I'd forgotten about it, and I thought, oh, I'm sure there's loads I've done in the past. Frozen meals with spinach in it. It's been, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. I wouldn't do that. But I used to send this out in lockdown, so how I packaged it was put it in the box and put the spinach on the top, and I think a note went with it. It's like, turn the spinach in, because by the time it had travelled, the spinach had wilted down anyway, so that's how I did it. Interesting that you've had no questions from Wendy. That's good. So let me just see if there are any comments. One comment, I think that was my earlier one. No comments. Honestly, Facebook Meta. Yum. Wendy is there. She said yum. Well done. Thank you, Wendy. I've got it done in half an hour. Not too bad. So if there are no more questions, I'll go and eat my tea. But thanks for coming, both of you. And yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want to add. The cayenne pepper is obviously this spicy bite on this, but it's not really about chili heat. People say I don't like hot curry, but that's just black pepper and chili. That's what's giving it. But cayenne gives a little bite, but not really. It's about fragrance for this one. All right, thank you for coming. Take care. Oh, next week is red pepper bisque using, you know, the seasonal squash. I used to quite like the idea of lobster bisque. I never really had it, but I like the colour of it, and I did it during lockdown. I thought, oh, it's a really great recipe to share, again, because it freezes and it's smooth and it's lovely and it's luxurious and decadent, and as we're heading into that time of year, it might be quite a nice one for you to have.